Hi there guys, and welcome back to Chinese is Easy. I'm really sorry I've been away for so long. I was sick, I've been traveling, but I'm back now, so let's get going. In this video, I want to address some questions that I've had from you guys, the viewers. And one of my questions was from Dora, and she was asking me, how did I get into Chinese? Why did I begin studying it at 24? And what was my method? What did I do? Did I study in a school? Did I study by myself? So I want to address some of those questions in this video. So first of all, I did not have a background in languages. I didn't study Chinese at university. I had some high school French and some high school German. I got a C in my German high school exam, so not an outstanding language career. I went to China. I was teaching English with the British Council. I went to Chongqing, that's where I was assigned. I had an absolute blast that first year. I wasn't really learning any Chinese. I was kind of just messing around, having fun. And then I moved up to Qingdao, and at that point I was 24. I was teaching in a language school. And my life wasn't going anywhere. I had a soul-searching moment one evening, and I was like, wow, what the hell am I doing? I'm in China. Why am I here? I got no career prospects. What's going on? So I thought, right, Chinese, China's growing. That's going to be a good thing to do. That will give me a focus. That will give me something to shoot for. So I just decided that night on a park bench in Qingdao, when my stomach was doing somersaults because I was like, whoa, what the hell am I doing with my life? I said, right, I'm going to do it. And I went out and I got a book, and I went back to my crappy little apartment, and I just sat down on this tiny little coffee table in my freezing cold room, and I just started to learn characters that very next morning. So that's kind of how I got into it. I was 24, I was out in China and I was teaching. I stumbled into it. I had no background. My undergrad degree was Southeast Asian Studies, and I flunked that. I'd got a C in that, hence why I didn't have any real career prospects at the age of 24. So I kind of fell into it, and I fell into it out of necessity. It was like I had to find something to do with my life, and I really needed some focus. So that is how I got into it. That's how I got started. And then from there, how did I go about studying? Well, I spent the first year or so just studying by myself. I was writing down characters in one of those little checked books, the squared books for writing. I had my little textbook, and I was making a ton of flashcards. That's really what helped me from the get-go. I was making flashcards, and I just did that really for like a year. And then I decided, I'd heard about the HSK exam. I wanted to have something to show for my effort, potentially to get a job. So I was like, right, I need this exam. And when I'd heard about the HSK, I then joined an HSK preparation school in Qingdao. And at that point, I was teaching English in a university in the outskirts of town. And I would take the bus for about an hour every night, or maybe not every night, maybe every other night, I think it was. And I would do like a couple of hours there, or an hour, depending on my schedule. So I was mainly, the first year was all self-study. Then after that, I started to do some classes, like a couple of hours in the evening, every other day, to prepare for the HSK exam. And that kind of pattern went on throughout my study, right the way up to getting HSK 10, and then getting my master's degree as well. I was predominantly self-studying, and then after I finished work, I would try and get a couple of hours in a language school to prepare for the next level of the HSK. The classroom environment was really cool. I had a lot of Korean classmates because I was near South Korea when you're up in Qingdao, and we would learn bits of vocab and stuff from each other. You would pick up their style, and it was a good environment. It enriched me a lot, and it was intellectually stimulating, because self-study can get a little dull. But a lot of Chinese is about the self-study. And then what I did is I got myself up to HSK level 10, which is basically undergrad level. And then I was like, I need, a good certificate. If I'm going to get a job, I want some prestige. So I then got a master's degree in Chinese interpreting and translation from the University of Bath. And that's a top 10 university in the UK. And it's particularly well known for that course. It has very good translation and interpreting studies there. I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, I'm just trying to give you some idea. And, you know, I got there, I was very proud of myself because I got there mainly by teaching myself Chinese, you know. And there were people there that had done undergrad at great universities in the UK and stuff like that. But I'd kind of dragged myself up by myself, just with a few classes in this, you know, private language school here and there. And then once I got the master degree, you know, when you're studying that, they're not teaching you anything. Again, that is, they practice with you, but that's really all self-study in a lot of ways. Don't get me wrong, but you're practicing the theory of interpreting and translation. You're not learning any more Chinese, really. So there is really, I think, with Chinese and language learning in general, I guess, a big onus on just doing it yourself, just learning it. There's only so much a teacher can help you with, right? And because Chinese does involve a fair bit of memorization because you're trying to memorize a lot of characters, but the same with every language as well. There's a lot of vocab. You know, you got to do a lot of that stuff yourself. So that's my basic journey, really. You know, I was kind of down and out at the age of 24, working in a terrible language school, awful conditions. I was really kind of lost and a bit depressed at that point. I fell into Chinese to give me a focus. I was 24 at the time. I didn't have a background. I found that I loved it, and then I just studied, mainly self-study, all the way up, working in a few classes around my work schedule, all the way up to HSK level 10, moved back to the UK, did a year-long MA in Chinese interpreting, and then moved back out to Beijing. Was a freelance translator and interpreter, and then ended up working at the British Embassy for a few years, interpreting for the ambassador there. I'll cover that in another video because there have been other questions about what was my career path and, you know, what you should do if you're looking to pursue Chinese as a job. But anyway, that's all I want to share with you right now about my journey of learning Chinese. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel, check out any other related videos, and I'll see you guys all really soon in the next one. Take care.